I'm just saying if I had to have an extra period of it all, that would just do it all the same day. Well, that's another case. Next surgery, I wasn't have to miss anyone. Maybe a day. I don't think so.
From someone. Oh, just going around.
Do we not have a police report?
It's not the first of the month,
Thank you.
so now we don't have a police or a fire report. Honestly, don't know when this guy's here, so.
Because your road cancer reading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can leave, you want?
Well, I'm okay with being here.
Can't hear you talking to the council. Okay, if you change your mind, you can step up to the podium. Just that way we have a conversation instead of people talking over each other.
No, you're fine, I've been sitting all day. So kind of call it.
Just call him.
Do that for the minutes.
We don't have 3 minutes. We should be okay here.
Break home.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
15.
Motion
It's
to
really
adjourn.
Sorry, I'm making noise. I was quiet. People come on our table.
There's nobody here, so I don't have to worry about it.
It's not on
You're on speaker,
There's Joel.
so be nice to me.
Better don't flannel.
One more minute.
Jason wants to know if you have a flannel on.
If I know what?
Flannel, are you matching?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
I'm ready.
On the countdown, 1 more minute.
That's the first committee we finished.
I know.
I can't remember when.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. Let's call the meeting to order. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for granting us the privilege to meet tonight. We ask for your blessing, wisdom, and guidance as we conduct the business of the village. Amen. Roll call. Cheney.
Yes.
Mauer.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Motion to approve the minutes from the March 10th regular meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of the March 10th regular council meeting?
Second.
Powell.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Mauer.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Cheney.
Yes.
Okay. In correspondence, I received 36 emails about trash. Some for, some against, some saying they didn't understand the ballot issues. We read through them prior to this meeting. But 36 of them, I also had 4 people reach out in favor of it and 5 companies reach out asking for dumpsters from the company as well. So, anybody else have correspondence that they need to share?
No. I think we all received some of the same correspondence.
From citizens, Jacob Yoho. Do you want to speak first, Jacob?
Go in front of me since he's already there.
Justin, since you're in front of him.
Justin, you go.
All right. So the ballot in question at hand. Because last time, the claim was, we voted yes, the citizens voted yes for this. In talking to them, they did not. They voted yes for you guys to get a bid, which is what I assumed they would think. Maybe I didn't make it clear last time, but I did vote no for this, because I do not want you guys in charge of my trash or charge anything in my life. American. But here we are again. It was an advisory election. That's not a pass or fail. It's a question. Should you guys seek? You know, we have the terminology laid out from the Secretary of State for the advisory election definition, which I'm sure you guys have all seen the post. I don't even use my Facebook, but everybody stops by to show me and inform me of what's going on there. So, but for better or worse terms, an advisory election means nothing. It's invalid. So when I stated you guys have the power, you do. You 6 council members have the power to pass or fail this. It's up to you. Or if you guys don't want it to be in your power, then put it to the ballot and let the citizens decide if that's truly what they want. Because I firmly believe this is not what they wanted when they answered yes to your ballot. Clearly, didn't go soliciting yet the signatures. There was a couple people that may have asked around, but we ended up with 10% without hardly looking. So I'm sure if I do a referendum petition for the actual ordinance if you guys pass it, we'll get the 10% signatures and it'll be put on the ballot for a vote. Then it may pass or fail, but who knows? But then at least it was done the correct way. Jill, you guys asked this question on the ballot, knowing that people would likely say yes to this, and then you guys can handle it how you see fit. It don't make sense.
Okay, sorry. Our solicitor, Joel Blue, is on the phone. He says he has a question.
So, somebody just remind me again, what the language of the ballot was, please? If you don't mind, Amy, could you read the language of the ballot so everybody knows what we're talking about?
Yeah, they're passing it down to me. Just a moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So everything we do goes through him.
Okay, advisory election, Village of West Lafayette. Shall the council of the Village of West Lafayette seek negotiations and bids for village-wide trash services? Yes or no?
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, negotiation would be like finding out the price of what it would cost, correct? And then bidding, is that another word for negotiation or is that a different process?
We can twist words however you want to see fit.
No. We're not twisting words. I'm asking Amy what the definition a bid, what the plain
We-
language bids.
I'm telling the definition of an advisory election, because that's why the board, I'm not arguing with this guy on the phone. This is not fair to me. This is why we argued last meeting, because he's being argumentative at my time at the podium, and I do not feel that is correct. This is my chance to speak.
There are more people in West Lafayette than you, and right now.
That's why I had 10% of the vote.
Yes, I need you to stop talking right now, okay? Because this is a meeting, this is a public meeting. You are not the only person in the village of West Lafayette. And if you cannot follow the rules of procedure and not talk over somebody else who has the floor at the moment, then you can leave. But right now, I'm asking you to
Hold
no, I'm
Hey,
asking you to
Wait just a second, Joel.
We are not going to interrupt the meeting, or you will be asked to step outside, okay? That's how it's going to work.
He just did.
He is the village solicitor, okay? We cannot talk over each other.
I finally knew him.
We need to keep it calm and cool.
And now this brings me back to the last meeting though, and the reason why things escalated. I'm glad you spoke up, Joel.
Thank you. Amy.
But I do have the Secretary of State's definition of the advisory election, as I stated before, and that's why the ballot, the Board of Elections heads that so big in black letters at the top, advisory election, so that the people that look into the ballot understood that ballot means nothing. There should be a second election on the legislation itself to follow. So if you want to handle it this way, then handle it this way and put the ballot up again for the secondary election. But no, you guys chose to use your police executive powers and enforce a trash bill that you guys have the power to do so. I understand that.
I'm sorry, may I interrupt these? I know the floor was mine, but you decided to talk over me, so now I'm gonna make a motion to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Okay, is English your first language? That's your native language?
I am not a qualified attorney, Joel. I did not go to college. I went to Ridgewood Local High School, yes. I am a local graduate that grew up here in this town, yes.
What part of the ballot that you are looking at right now says that this is just going to be an advisory ballot? This is an advisory provision.
The big bold black letters right next to the number 6 that says advisory election.
Okay. And so that we are crystal clear on this, since you're not letting anybody else talk, what does negotiate mean?
To negotiate, to come up with contracts or make bids, yes.
Okay.
And if I was gonna handle it right off of this, then yeah, I would say, hey, this passed, next election, we wanna put this on the ballot, start date of this. That way, if it does pass legislation through the voting process, it's cut and
Okay,
dry.
so that's a lot of things that probably don't go into definition of negotiate. For example, I negotiated the price on my car long ago. I didn't have to do 2 negotiations. So let's just agree negotiation is a bargain, right? We can all say negotiation as a term is a bargain.
I agree.
Okay. And bidding, that would be asking somebody to.
Correct, Mr. Attorney. I understand that we can constrict this however you want to see fit. I am just trying to elaborate on how the normal working American read and seen this on the ballot. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did people?
My next question for you, sir.
My next question,
My next
is this
question
an
for you.
emergency ordinance?
No.
Can someone
Good.
please
So
tell
it does
me-
not matter what he says. I will have 30 days to petition 10% of the electorate that voted for the governor in the previous election in my municipality. I will get those 10%. We will put it on the ballot and we're gonna turn it down. Because especially the way, hopefully,
That is your right.
I'm taking real personal offense to our attorney because clearly he's the one that probably has something in it, more so than our village. Who else gets paid on big contracts? What is that, $500,000 contract, Mr. Rumpke?
Yeah, then you should probably, call the Columbus Dispatch, though. They will definitely take that conspiracy theory. How many people are gonna sign your petition? How many is 10%?
91,
91, okay.
92, we'll be safe. I'll probably get 180 if I get
So I
over the door.
assume that the provision you don't like, 1 by 90 or less?
Because you asked the question, people would likely say yes to. Would you like a quote on a new truck? Yes. Do I want it showing up in my driveway next
You've
week?
gone and talked to all 900 people.
I did not come here to argue with our village solicitor council members. I come to ask you guys as our elected body. I mean, this is our government. This is what you guys are here for, correct? So I'm asking you guys to do what's right because this was misconstrued ballot. And I didn't have to outreach for these. We can go farther and we will if need be. So do what's right, but I will be looking to see who voted yes for this and passed it and who votes no. Because we'll know who is really for doing it the right way, or don't even put it in on yourself. Put it on the ballot. Let us be the ones making the choice. Then nobody's gonna be pointing fingers that you're the bad guy at the end of the day. That's what I would do. Put it back in the power of the people.
So take it out of the people's hands who did vote.
No, put it back on the secondary.
Give it to the people who agree
This
with
is
you.
from the Secretary of
Make
State
sure
and the
that
Board of
ballot
Elections.
is not secret, so you know who voted for what.
All right, Joel, can he finish his, Justin, need more?
On the bid, also, you guys claim that Rumpke offered free cleanup. How is that miscued as a bribe? Offering free services and with a bid.
That was in the bid packet for all of them.
Oh,
So
they all-
anybody that picked
For
up-
all the one? The
well,
one?
the other two that picked up the packet had
They
the
just-
same.
It was part of the specifications that we laid out for what we wanted in a bid
Criteria.
to provide,
Well, that was not
Dumpsters
one of
for
them.
cleanup
I was
day.
just curious, because there's gotta be other ones somewhere else somewhere. And
I
we're
can
gonna
assure
keep hunting
you, there's
other
not.
what,
just for the
Or I
sheer
missed
fact.
it.
Well, how is Rumpke getting $500,000 bid in our area, or whatever it was? What, can I have the dollar amount?
$22 times
No, the
900.
contract bid amount. What they
no, that's
bid.
what it
It's
is. It's
based off
each,
of $22.
each
So they
person.
bid it individually.
Yeah.
yeah.
For
It
the
depends on how
individual
many
service.
subscribers they get.
So this ain't a contract service. If,
Yeah,
because Kimball's, for instance, 1850, when they did, that's Coshocton as a municipality, because they
Yes.
discount it down. This Rumpke price does not look like a discounted down.
it actually is compared to Kimball.
$1.63 that they're gonna say, that's not a big savings.
I'm
If
not
you want
saying it
big
is.
savings, you use your local independent hauler.
Right.
But what's gonna happen, we keep giving big bids in these contracts to Rumpke and these monopolies. Because when they own all the landfills, they're gonna tell us how much it costs to get rid of our stuff. There's no going back on that. So if you wanna do something to benefit this county or community, look into getting the Coshocton landfill powered back up, making some gas energy off the hills
Right.
there.
Right. Adam, didn't you have a pretty good kind of breakdown on, as we talked about it earlier today, kind of how it would work
So
if everyone dumped Kimball?
if everyone jumped Kimball,
Not everyone's gonna dump Kimball.
I'm just saying. That's,
just bear with me here. There's
Yeah, okay.
500 people that dump Kimball. Just guesstimating there's 4 independent trash haulers, just off the
Right
top of my
now.
head right now. So each independent trash hauler, and it wouldn't even be equal, but let's say 125 extra. They're going to have to hire help. Your price is going to go up and their level of service is going to go down because they have 125 more houses they have to hit in the same day. So their cost is going to go up. It's a catch-22 in my mind, and looking at every other angle I can.
You're feeding $1 billion company.
it's not about the.
That had the opportunity to bid like everyone else. I understand, but
Well,
everyone had the opportunity to bid on it.
And one of my points with the,
Well, here's the thing, but back to, put the bid back on the ballot, if it passed, great, I could live with that. But like I'm saying, the people in the town that have come, 10% of our voters have come to me without looking. And they told me, hey, come home or stop by a house when my wife gets off work, she'll sign it too. Kids are, they're voters now, they'll sign it. So there's a lot more signatures I can get to overturn the ordinance. But at the end of the day, it's still another monopoly. Because
and I understand your viewpoint, and. I
there's
know-
not ever gonna be a new one started if there's ever a need for one to start.
Right, and I.
And there's no emergency. And back to the hoarders thing, there we go. That was the last meeting.
That's one of the things
also.
that I deal with.
So the village itself could profit so much off of charging the
We
land. Why?
The judge
Because
will throw it out.
it is considered cosmetic and they do not pursue it.
Billing your guys' hours for cleaning up. So you send a village worker to clean it up, just like the mowing, it's $100 to mow, $100 to bill it. There's $200 going into the
Here's
village's
what happens with that. When we issue a citation,
Yeah.
they can either pay the citation.
Well, a lot of these
or-
citations are going to the tenants too. That should be your landowner's
They go to
responsibility.
landowners.
Yeah, we
Are you
actually,
sure?
Yeah,
yes, we track
I'm
those
the
down.
landowner for a couple of them.
But what I'm saying is, when we cite a property owner for their unsightly yard, if they pay the citation, great. Doesn't mean they're gonna do anything about it, they just pay the citation. Or they ignore the citation and gets charged on their taxes. Guess who doesn't pay their taxes? That's where we run into the issues with the whole citation you brought up, fine on. It's just a vicious cycle that there's no breaking of it, because
If you don't pay your taxes, they can take the property. Correct?
there's a,
Okay.
there's a,
If the prosecutor decides,
yeah, there's a.
Well, that's
big list
because,
of-
because you guys trample on state law or federal laws so much and try to overstep your bounds too much. I can see that.
yeah, that is the domain of the.
Kind of
prosecutor.
like,
We have
the
no
attorney's
authority
case
over that.
law, he presented me with the McGraw case that Portsmouth versus McGraw, whenever they finally overruled it, appealed. Took her appeal the fourth time, said it was unconstitutional for us to pay for services we do not render. So at the end of the day, I will not render any trash service from any contract at the end of the day. And it's my constitutional right. Thank you. You guys have a good night. We'll drag this on all night.
Jacob, do you want to address council now?
I guess. Oh, I don't need luck. All right. Okay, I'm just gonna start off right now. I'm not gonna go right into the trash, but it's gonna lead right into the trash. My grandpa raised me since I was knee-high to a duck. And I know for a fact that everyone on this board is trying to turn this place into an HOA. You guys are one step away. One step. For holding up, you're about to hold a gun to every one of these people's head and tell them to go with this trash company. That's pretty much what you're doing. If you don't sit there and think about it, you are. Every time we wake up in the morning, we're gonna have a gun right to our heads.
Lower your voice.
That's where this place is going. And I will not stand for it. Because I have every right. I pay my mortgage on that place that I own. Not you, not you, not you, not you, not you. I do. And if I keep on paying my mortgage, I have the right to do whatever I want with my property. Because I guarantee it, November, I'm at 2026. If the Vic gets in, I even got a text message this morning. He's all for small businesses. You're gonna put Greer out of business. And how can you actually stand for that? You guys just bowed your heads down to the God above, and you lied. I can't do nothing to you, but I know when you get up to heaven, he will. You need to stop and think about that. Because I know some of you guys are up for election. And I'm standing right now that I vow to protect these people, and I guarantee it I'll run. I might have a lot of PR work to do, but I will get it done because I'm a fighter. Just let you know, your chair will be up.
You want it right now? Right there it is. I'm sick and tired.
Are you stepping down, sir?
I'm
I'm
sick,
more than
listen,
happy.
listen, you let me talk for a minute. I'm sick and tired of hearing you people say that we're trying to take all the power. I'm gonna tell you one thing, I voted no on this in November. I didn't
So did
think
I.
it was a good idea, but we put it on the ballot, let the people decide.
And people didn't understand it.
But you have 3 months before to call and ask questions, and we did have people call and ask questions before.
And the last thing we're trying to do is take anyone's rights. If you had any idea of how many things that we have discussed since I've taken this chair to eliminate some of the fees, some of the unmeasurable things that were written in our ordinances that most people didn't even realize they were in violation of their ordinance. We have taken many major steps to eliminate that sort of stuff because it is your property. It is your right. The problem is the trash situation. One, we talk about the hoarders, we talk about everything else, but we're trying to keep our town clean and safe. Safe by picking up our refuge. What made the Greek and Roman Empire so great was the fact that they figured out how to do plumbing. And that's what made them better. So we're trying to keep our community safe. And safe is not having rodents and coyotes and everything running through the streets. digging
Well, I'm
through
sorry,
trash
I have
cans.
Terminix, so good luck.
Uh,
So you're calling my place trash because I carry Terminix, I carry their biggest pest plan?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that with trash and everything through there, we've had this discussion. These are discussions that we've had numerous times. We're not trying to overstep. None of us want control. None of us
You're
are
doing
getting any. We're not trying to overstep. We're following suit of what has been requested by several other members of the community and advised by other municipalities.
Well, and also to these people's head, what has Elon Musk done so far? Can you give me that answer? Because I guarantee you guys are getting a kickback, and don't lie about it.
We are not getting a kickback.
Oh,
I don't like being accused of taking kickbacks.
That is
Yeah.
absurd.
I don't. I don't need it. I got a job. I don't need money from anybody else. I make my money,
I
sir.
work mine.
Thank you very much.
Look how much Elon's discovered.
Elon's not been here. I haven't had the
Yeah,
chance to
not yet,
ask
but he's
him.
coming for you.
If you raise your voice one more time, you would ask me. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I can promise you, nobody sitting in this room has received any kind of kickback or bumper sticker or anything from Rumpke. At least I haven't seen it, so, and I know these guys haven't seen it, and I know Mayor Tubbs hasn't seen it. There is,
She lied. I caught her in so many lies.
we have done more to try to save our community in the past year from some really messed up things that most people are not aware of.
Well, that's why it's called let the city make their choices. You put stuff on a ballot so people can make the choice.
Exactly, that's why we put this on the ballot.
Yeah, and it states on the ballot that it was just to get a quote and then it was supposed to go read back on the ballot.
It's negotiations and bids.
It does not say that.
Yeah, it does.
No, I literally just read it. It does not say that it would be re-voted on.
It doesn't say re-voted on it, but you guys can put it back on the ballot. You guys have the power to do it.
Yeah, the last person wanted to discuss that. He was giving a lot of opinions that sounded like facts. And that's, unfortunately, that's what happens with a lot of these things. It's actually a phenomenon. If you Wikipedia, it's called bike shedding. There's a town in Belgium that was putting in a nuclear power plant. And they wanted to figure out what bike shed they should build for the workers, because bikes are popular in Belgium. It got to the point that people on city council were threatening to kill each other over the bike shed. They didn't care about any of the regulations where the toxic waste would go, any of that, tax incentives. It was all about the bike shed. When we have an idea about what something is, because we've personally experienced it, we often have stronger opinions about that idea. We all have trash, we all make trash, all throw things out, all hire trash companies. So we all have an idea about that. As far as what's off I don't really have an idea because I don't live there. I probably would not like it either. But it was put on the ballot. It was voted through. Now maybe they didn't understand it. That's possible. That is possible that all those people didn't understand it. We don't have evidence one way or the other. All we have is it was put on the ballot and it was voted through. Now, you guys might go out, you might get your petition, you might get your 10%, you might put it on, you might get taken away. Fine. That's how it works in this society. But as far as the council, they're just trying to execute the will of the people as best as they know. And right now, the only thing we know for sure, for a fact, is that one got voted through. And the interpretation of it that any legal scholar is going to give you is they're supposed to negotiate and bid. The interpretation anybody is going to give you of the law in the state of Ohio is that this is within the plenary power of a municipality. It's even considered to be constitutional. You talked about doing whatever you want with your land, and a man's home should be a castle. But in a society, we have rules regulating our land. That's why your neighbor doesn't have whatever super annoying thing, with Woodstock next to you every night with drugs and hippies and loud music, because we live in a society where we have rules against that. So the unfortunate thing about society is sometimes you're in a minority on an opinion in society. And that just kind of comes with the territory. But as far as council, most of them that I've talked to, they didn't want this, they voted against it. They're just trying to do the will of the people until you guys put this other thing on the ballot, which perfectly reasonable idea. You're not hurting anybody's feeling by saying you're going to have a petition, 10% are going to sign it, you're going to overturn this thing. Great. That is how it works. That's how it should work. There shouldn't be somebody out there just deciding things without the people voting on it. That's the Elon Musk situation. We are far removed from that. This was put on the ballot, people voted for it. Now, council is obligated to move forward. If that changes, they'll be obligated to move the other direction.
Anything else, Mr. Go?
I was waiting until you was done. What was that? Oh, the big, is also for small businesses. So you think when he gets in and he finds out that you're going with this big trash company and we have these small businesses, what do you think he's going to do when he becomes governor? Because I know there's a lot of people in the text that are going to vote for him. And I read it every day. So what are you going to do? Because it ain't going to be DeWine anymore. It's going to be him.
DeWine can't run again. So it definitely won't be him. And if the legislature changes the statute.
And then the Vic's already said he's getting rid of property taxes. So that makes more voters going to lean towards him. So, and you get rid of property taxes, it's going to make more, more jobs, and you guys are going to have one job for, this county, but you're getting rid of Greer and 4 others that can also do the trash. If they can just divide it up between them, this whole village.
Yeah, if the law changes, they'll have to change. No doubt. But bear in mind, the executive does not get to decide what the law is. The executive executes the law. The legislature makes the law, and the judicial interprets the law.
Yeah, so on that note, I'll be running. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address council?
Hey, I'll address council briefly.
Larry just walked up, so can you go after Larry?
I absolutely can.
Perfect.
Good either way, so whatever you want to do. Larry Freetag, grew up in the community, went away for 30 years, come back home, right? Great place to live. Should be that way again. So if the council decided that we vote no on this, you guys say you voted most no, right? Why can't you table the issue, put it back out, get more bids, and then put it up for another vote?
If we open it up for bids again, everyone already knows what Rumpke's bid is, so
That gives him an opportunity to come down further.
it's kind of an unfair bid. The reason that they're sent in sealed bids and opened in a public meeting is so that everybody has the same opportunity. So now everyone that rebids, Kimball actually might pick up a packet and rebid, but they would undercut his. So.
But you have the power to table this for further discussion and put it out to the community, right, and revote, right?
I don't know. Joel, do you?
It doesn't have to be decided.
Well, they would have to
within 3
vote
meetings.
against it.
I mean, it's gonna go a third reading at the next meeting in 2 more weeks, and at that time, council at that point has to decide to vote yes or no to sign that contract.
Correct, but you can table it,
Or they could vote no and not sign the contract.
correct.
Right.
So the feeling I'm getting from the council is we should vote no. If you all voted no against this to go community service, we should get a no vote from the council.
But we're also supposed to represent the people in the village that voted
You
yes.
represent 600 out of the 1,800, right?
930 voted.
So half the people.
Mhm.
He said he's gonna get 10% or whatever to go against you, and probably more than that, because people know what they're going against now.
Maybe, there may be more, you're right. And if he gets his 10%, he puts it on and he votes it down, council will do what the public wants. Right now, the only fact they have to go on, fact, not opinion, not conjecture, fact, 900 voted for it.
And that's where I'm looking is
That's the fact they have.
who voted.
Okay, what about those members that own property that don't live here? That want this community to be great? I own 209 and 207 West River. If you haven't noticed, I've been cleaning it myself. Chief knows. Jesse knows. That's my property. You're gonna charge me for property that doesn't even have a house on it?
No, it's for residents, so it has to have a living residence. So if it's an empty building, it will not have trash service.
That wasn't, I'm just now being made aware of that.
Yeah.
So if I put a residence on there, I still can't vote on this. So how is that showing that I get fair representation? I want to make this community a nice community, put a nice house on there, and I don't have to vote on who's doing my trash for my renter, or if I want to move in there eventually.
You would defray the cost within your rent, and your renter would presumably.
That's not the point, sir.
West Lafayette.
That's not the point. The point is, I own that property. I don't get a vote on, come to the voting polls and say, I don't want this.
So you don't
I mean,
make
I live in the shop.
have to pay school taxes too. People that don't have cars, I mean,
I didn't hear your first.
if you don't have kids, you still have to pay taxes for some schools in some areas. You know, the people who are renting vote, they don't own property. It might not affect them. You're absolutely right. There's not a perfect way. And if the citizenry comes back and says, we don't want this, that's great. You might be right. People,
But that still doesn't include me. I own the property, but I have no vote. That's like Washington DC, right?
He doesn't live in
You don't
West
live here,
Lafayette, Joel. He lives in
But you still
Coshocton.
pay property taxes and the property
Absolutely, I pay
taxes.
property taxes.
And they still go to
And school
Ridgewood local
taxes.
schools, correct?
Absolutely.
So,
But I don't get a vote on what's going on here. I can't even run for council, even though I'd love to. I couldn't run for chief because my dad was the chief. I can't do it because I don't live here.
right? But I mean, you have voting rights in the place where you claim residence, though.
That does no good for my property here.
Well, I mean, it used to be that you voted based on land, and we actually had a war over that whole situation. So I'm not saying your opinion is wrong. I'm just saying it. There's a reason to believe there's validity to it that has nothing to do with any racist idea. But how it works is where you're a resident.
I completely understand
It's
that.
stuck under the same system.
What I'm saying is our representation sitting at this table needs to consider those that own property in this community that don't get a vote. I want this community, I want my property to look nice. Come out to my house. You can look at my house anytime.
You live,
Ask Adam, my nephew. Come out and look at my house anytime.
do you live in Coshocton City?
No,
Okay. I was just gonna ask how,
no, King Township.
how their village-wide trash service was working. This is why I asked that
We
question.
have independent.
I thought Coshocton had
But
village-wide.
he
I'm not a-
He doesn't live in
Yeah,
town.
that's
Not
fine.
that key.
Yeah.
Coshocton does that.
So I'm just throwing out that the council also consider those that own property, that try to make that community look better, which I've been doing for the last 3 years. That's the other question I have for you.
Yep.
Think of those voters also that that want your community to look good because we buy the property to try and fix it up, but we don't get a vote.
Yeah, that's a fair enough point to make.
The other question is, any update on that
I
funding or that?
actually talked to her today about somebody else's property, so, they are moving this direction. That person's property got bumped out because it's a potential brownfield, so I think yours was right after his. So
I'm just asking if there's updates at all. That's,
Yeah.
I don't need details. I called them a couple weeks ago and they said, we're still waiting on the state to approve
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, and I think some stuff got frozen, so I think.
Well, I
some
thought
of
with
that's-
the
Yeah,
pulling back funds and
Yeah.
doing this and that. So, again, I want this community to be great. That's why I moved home after I retired from the military. I've been to 48 of the 50 states, and this is where I chose to live. So, think about that. Thank you.
thank you, Larry. Anybody else?
I'm Rose Gear, I'm with Gear Services, and I just had a question. How does this affect our clients that are currently in the village of West Lafayette? Are they gonna be able to apply for an exemption? Or are they gonna be forced into a contract with a different carrier?
If they pass it, everybody will go with Rumpke.
So I had this experience within Coshocton. Coshocton City Ordinance has exemptions available to their, to the city people. But as of last year, they were not allowed, they took the exemption power away. So are you going to allow exemptions in West Lafayette? Or are you going to follow Coshocton and not allow people to choose?
There would be no exemptions unless Rumpke allowed it. So if there was somebody that was far out of the area, then
Because currently we serve between 40 and 50 people in the village limit, but we have almost 500 garbage clients. So we service the whole area. We weren't aware of the contract being opened up for bids. We were aware of, because we don't live in city limits. So we weren't aware of that. But to answer your guys' talk, when you were talking to Mr. Bradford, we've approached Jesse and the previous mayor about doing cleanups within the city pro bono for us, just because we live here, our kids go to school here. And that was something that we absolutely would have thrown in the ring, but we weren't able to get any feedback from either mayor. So that's why you don't have any of our information, not because we didn't want to give it up. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
anybody else? All right. Moving on to department reports. And there's nothing from fire tonight. Ms. Wobster, do you have anything tonight?
Couple of things, have a couple pieces of legislation to go over. Ordinance 2025-09 will receive its third and final reading tonight, and that is an ordinance regulating open burning in the village. Ordinance 2025-12 will receive its second reading tonight, and that is the ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and or village administrator to sign the contract for village-wide trash service. New to the agenda is resolution 2025-13, and that is to add funds. Grab that here real quick. So we received the final approval on our OWDA loan for the sewer outfall project that is, we had the pre-construction meeting for that last week, so that is underway. They should be breaking ground here very soon with that, and with the loan approval, I need to have the rest of the money appropriated for what we're gonna do this evening for the loans, to cover the rest of the expense. So I need $51,000 for the OPWC loan that we'll be receiving, and then also into a couple of different accounts for the OWDA loan, that'll total about $560,000. Again, that'll receive its first reading tonight. I am requesting that we waive the 3 readings for that and pass it this evening, just because with the project being underway, I need to get the money appropriated and ready to spend once the invoices start coming through. Next one on the list is ordinance 2025-14, and I'll let Jake speak to that during his report, during the ordinance report. Other than that, those have been passed around for approval, and that's all I have this evening.
Nothing new for police? Okay. Solicitor?
So we've had a few different things going on. Most of the contract reviews, I believe all of those are done, and then some ordinance drafting. Otherwise, it's been more or less quiet.
Someone's here.
Okay. Tammy?
All of my topics will be addressed in the committee notes, so.
All right, moving on to committee reports, building and property.
We met tonight and we talked about, we issued preliminary citations to the tenant and the landlord at 216 East Railroad for trash.
Okay, community business and development.
We met tonight and Rally Point Gaming has moved to the old Mint Ivy building and it's now open for business. Lori's Heavenly Treats, which will be going in on Railroad Street. She's hoping for an April 1st opening. And the Dairy Hut has been bought by Amy Hicks. Does she have a date as to when she's gonna be open?
She's hoping mid-April.
Okay,
I don't know the exact date.
okay. And that's all.
Gotta get it open. It's
I
stable
know.
for Jeep rides.
Community relations.
The Easter egg hunt will be April 18th. It'll be at 10 a.m. at the football field. And the village cleanup day will be April 26th.
The 26th?
Yes.
Community revitalization.
I'll be sending out a reminder text for the members of the committee. We have a meeting coming up April 2nd at 6 p.m. here.
Finance.
Nothing tonight.
Fire dependency.
Nothing tonight.
Ordinance.
Ordinance, as mentioned earlier, we're going to be introducing ordinance 2025-14. This is to revoke elected officials and village officials to conceal carry on certain properties with building-owned properties. One of the driving factors behind this is it helps us avoid some hefty unnecessary costs with our insurance fees if we were carrying inside our own buildings. And the fact that the offices now have a better safety measures in place, including cameras, panic buttons, and other features that help protect our village administrator and physical officer.
Park Board,
Nothing tonight.
Local Planning Commission,
Nothing tonight.
County Planning Commission,
Canceled.
Public Safety.
Access controls and cameras have been installed in the admin office.
Public Works.
We talked about trash, obviously. Auto dialers on the lift stations, they're now Wi-Fi. Sewer outfall project, which is gonna be starting pretty soon. Sidewalks, the plans are back and they'll go out for bids March 27th and April 3rd. And we talked about Pearl Valley and the RCAP study.
Records retention, nothing tonight. Rules, nothing tonight. So moving on to introduction of ordinances and resolutions. 2025-09, an ordinance regulating open burning within the village of West Lafayette, Ohio. This is the third reading.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2025-09.
Second.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Fisher,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
2025-12, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and/or village administrator of the village of West Lafayette, Ohio, to sign a contract for village-wide trash service. This is a second reading. 2025-13, a resolution to amend the 2025 permanent appropriations ordinance. 2024-48, adding funds. First reading, this is an emergency.
Motion to suspend the required readings for ordinance, resolution 2025-13.
Second.
Powell,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-13.
Second.
Bauer,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Fisher,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
2025-14, an ordinance revoking elected officials and officers' permission to conceal carry in certain village administration buildings, ordinance 2018-32, establishing as an emergency. This is the first reading and an emergency.
Oh, we need to waive this.
I mean,
Oh,
we don't have to, we can go to 3 readings and just pass at the signing of the 3rd reading.
it's just waiting so we can get the contract done.
Oh, okay.
Sound good? So you have everything done and you can be done with it?
Motion to
Sorry.
suspend the rules in the 3 required readings for ordinance 2025-14.
Second.
Fisher,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Bauer,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Percy.
Yes. Motion to adopt.
Sorry. Second.
Percy,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Fisher.
Yes.
There's no other business tonight. The bills have been around for approval. Yes.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Fisher,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Cheney.
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Cheney,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.